Welcome to the Red Mallard Marketing Podcast. We are talking about today content marketing for trade shows. I love this topic. Millions, let's say it's billions of dollars goes into trade shows, conventions every year. And if you're listening to this, you probably are a business owner or you're a marketing person at a business or a salesperson or whoever you are. You probably have been to a trade show of sorts in your professional career, whether it's the mom and pop craft show at the local community center, the farmer's market, or something at the Las Vegas Convention Center. Those are all trade shows. Those are all people exhibiting, hoping for an outcome. And the outcome, craft fair or the farmer's market, is selling a jar of honey or all the honey you brought, all the veggies you picked and you brought, because you can't reattach them. You want to sell as much stuff as you can that day. The leveled up farmers market vendors will have a little poster out front with a QR code that tells you where you can follow them to the next show or how you can continue to purchase their items on their website. And they will sign you up for their little newsletter. Those are business owners. Those are people that are trying to keep the wheels turning. If you are just popping up at a craft fair, you are a hobbyist. You have a hobby you like. You like to sell whistles that you've whittled, and you want to make $50 or $100 that day. Or you just love it. You love connecting with people, and that's a wonderful thing.
It's
Now,
a tax strategy.
It's a tax strategy for
Turn your
5
hobby
years.
into a business.
Yeah, for 5 years, take a loss every year, run the car through it, declare bankruptcy, do it again. We are not CPAs, nor are we financial advisors. Do not take this as tax advice in any way, shape, or form. But let's now pivot to the small business that signs up to go to a conference or a trade show. Not what a farmer's market vendor would spend, like $10 as an admittance fee. You spend $10,000 to go buy a space in an air-conditioned warehouse to have thousands of people walk by you, and hopefully they will stop and have a chat. My question to you is, how are they going to know you're there? And then how are you going to follow up with them after the show? 9 out of 10 or 99 out of 100 people that we've ever talked to when they're going to a trade show do not have a plan to follow up with their prospects or conversations after the show. Alex, why is that?
I think there's magical thinking going on that all we need to do is look them in the eye, shake their hand, get their business card. Things will just happen. And we'll just have this wonderful business happen because they associate us with this trade show, which they've paid money to be at, and our being there shows that we're serious. And that's really all that it takes. Not quite understanding that it's a little bit like Ripley taking on the mother alien in Aliens, right? Where on her own, she has a machine gun and a flamethrower, but she's not able to, fight this great big creature. But she steps into a mechanized, robo suit, and now she can do whatever she wants. And that's what content marketing is. It's adding the robo suit to your marketing conversation. So yeah, you're still there, but on top of it, they get an email, they're put into a machine that's doing some automation so that your reach is much further, and it's keeping the lights on, keeping them engaged, keeping those connections so that you're more likely to be able to ultimately close a deal, because those deals may take 3 months, 6 months to materialize. You don't want them to forget about you.
And if you're thinking about going to a show or you've signed up this year to go to a show, keep this in mind. You are one conversation that those people are having 50 times that day. If they're there to do a job, they're having a lot of conversations, you times 50. One, it's how are you going to stand out at your booth? And then two, or as importantly as 1A and 1B, how are you going to follow up with those people? The other thing to keep in mind too is most of the people walking that show, if they're in Vegas, from 9 to 5, they're there for the show, but why they're really there is to go out that night and have fun.
They don't want to sit down and negotiate contracts at the trade show. So you have an opportunity to give an impression.
Yep.
And the last thing you want to do is show up with, a couple of 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper tacked up on the wall behind you that make it look like your business is wildly unsuccessful and hopeless.
Yes.
You need to be competing with the other vendors who are there. It doesn't matter if you're selling services and everybody else is selling widgets. You have to be at least on par with the rest of the crowd. And if your fellow presenters are coming in with fancy lighted backgrounds and they've got, all kinds of bells and whistles and tchotchkes and all those things. Exactly. You
But
need
yeah,
to have all of those things as well, at least something that is on par. And you can do it without having the $25 million three-dimensional backdrop.
right. You don't need to have a hologram walk people through this new car that you spent $50 million designing. That would be cool, but you're probably not at that show if you're listening to this podcast. You are probably going to a local or a regional, maybe national B2B show. There's probably going to be 500 to 1,500 vendors or exhibitors. There's going to be like 1,000 to 2,500 attendees. So you've got, a very narrow focus. And the focus should be, who are we targeting and what is the personality that these people are going to respond to? The personality in the booth is very much why they will stop by. And the personality might be the giveaways. The personality might be the information or how you address the pain point of the target attendee. It also might be a game or something else where we've got a client we're hoping does this little game at their exhibit where they're going to a chipping contest with a wiffle golf ball. It's not going to hurt anybody. I mean, don't let anybody stand behind them when they are doing the chip. But chipping is a very, low backswing, and they get to chip onto a dartboard or a Velcro board and win a prize or get entered into win an iPad, whatever it is. People want to have fun at these things. People want to take away something from it, whether it's a mug or a sales sheet that really actually resonates with their problem. But you got to get them to stick at the booth with something that's enticing. You got to get them to sign up and find and have a plan. We sell nurture campaigns through email that are designed specifically for trade shows that will follow the person once the show's over, because they're going to walk away from your booth. The average person is going to walk away and forget you. But if they were enticed enough to sign up and you have a plan to follow up with them, they won't forget you because you're going to be in their inbox the next day. You're going to say, how was the show? We had a great time. Great meeting you. And then a week later, again, great meeting you at the show. Did you know we do these 3 things? I think we talked about one of them. What do you remember? And then a week later, maybe there's no reaction, no response, but they didn't unsubscribe. You throw them into your monthly or your regular newsletter. They do respond because you followed up with them.
Well, I think it's really, really important to emphasize. Lots of people react to that sort of thing and say, I hate those emails. I never respond to them. Some people do.
Yep.
So it's that part of overcoming the fear of sending out emails like that is understanding that just because you don't like it doesn't mean it is ineffective with other people. Other people do read email. Other people do open it. And we're talking about getting open. We want open rates in the 3 to 5% range for the average email campaign. Maybe we want a little higher for this sort of thing because it's a much more directed, targeted thing. We want maybe 10, 15, 20%. It really depends on the industry, the market. But you get that sort of traction and you make 5 or 6 good, solid relationships out of it, out of 1,000 people you've reached out to. That's paid for the trade show. It's paid for your investment in the trade show.
And that customer could be a customer for years. That's
right. So it's really important to not overrate your own personal relationship with email marketing when you're thinking about that.
We talked about this in the last episode. If you're overthinking your relationship to email marketing or that you don't like emails, there's something in there about your own story or about what you do that needs to be unpacked. There's a lack of confidence. There's an element in your own business. And I'm the first to admit that I struggle with this, that you don't want to publish. You don't want to put more of a spotlight on it. That needs to be evaluated and discussed with your team because an email is just an email. It's a small touch point. But I've used this example. I'll continue to use it because it still is true. If you're a member of something like Costco or Sam's Club, you don't unsubscribe from those emails because you trust Costco or Sam's Club to send you good deals. And if people view you as the expert, then you need to send them value. You need to educate them because if you aren't the expert. You don't unsubscribe from something you get value from, even if you don't open every email. So get over it. We will get over it. We will send an email next week. Go to redmallard.com to get our first newsletter in a while. Sign up today.
John, the reason we neglect ourselves is we're too busy passionately pursuing the goals of our clients.
And yet, we've said this before, we should be our best client. We are on our way. We are putting up podcasts. The first email will advertise the new podcast. That's our spiel on content marketing for trade shows. You can go to redmallard.com and probably not read anything about that. But if you call us, we can help you with that. Alex, have a wonderful day.
Thanks, John. You too.